Welcome, Ittisha, to 12th Eastern Himalayan Naturenomics Forum. Ittisha Sara is the director of North East Waste Collective Arunachal, and she has been working in sustainable waste management, community engagement, and environmental advocacy. My question is, how can community engagement be effectively integrated into waste management strategies to create long-term environmental sustainability?
Right. So, in rural areas, if it is not the community who takes ownership of addressing the problem of waste mismanagement, no one else can solve this problem. Because unlike urban areas where you have concerned government departments to take care of waste management, in rural we don't have any government department to take care of waste management. So in such a scenario, it is the community who has to come together, who has to come forward, who has to take ownership, and only then I think this problem of waste mismanagement in rural settings can be addressed. So what we are trying is basically to work with remote mountain communities to co-design community-led waste management systems. Yeah.
Thank you. And apart from that, I would like to know, like, what are some innovative approaches or practices that you have seen in sustainable waste management, particularly in terms of reducing environmental impact and raising awareness?
What we have tried to do is that this whole model, the community-led waste management model, we have so in conventional waste management systems, what happens is that your revenue is generated by sale of recyclables, by user fees, and but there is always a gap, and that gap is funded by either government or CSR. So, but in our case, we are let's say when we are located in cases where the location is remote and it is a remote mountain setting, and Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin funds are anyway limited, and CSR funds don't even reach such remote regions. So in such a case, what a kind of social innovation that has worked for us is that the revenue generated in our case also comes from sale of recyclables and user fees, but the gap in this case, in a community-led waste management model, the gap is met through voluntary efforts. So the community members put in voluntary efforts, and so sustainability, which in conventional cases is equated with revenue generation, in this case, in a community-led waste management model, your sustainability can be then achieved through community ownership. Yeah, so I am really trying to make children of the community serious members of this initiative, like not look at them as children and take them lightly, like really make them, empower them, and really empower them so that they can really make a difference and play their part. Since we are calling it a community-led waste management system, I believe that every section of the community has to play its part, including children. So we are therefore engaging a lot with the children. Recently we started a summer camp called the Eco Champs. So during summer vacation, unlike in cities when when summer vacation kids have multiple options to get engaged in villages they don't have. When school is not there, they're mostly home. So what we did this time was we launched a summer camp called Eco Champs. So it was a 1 month program where we imparted environment education through activity-based learning. So we did a lot of different activities through which they could actually understand the bigger problem of environment. The need to protect the environment, of which waste management is a part. The idea was for them to understand the bigger picture so that they get serious about playing their part in managing the waste of the valley. For example, in Sangti, the group of children, we divided them into groups. Based on where they reside, and then they were given this task of okay, now they were given they were specified areas. We basically specified areas to each group, and then it was that group's responsibility of how can they innovatively come up with a plan of keeping their area clean. So there were many things that they did. Of course, cleanup was one thing, but cleanup wasn't enough, so they made dustbins out of waste materials. Then they created signboards. Then they also made something called the green cards and the red cards. They observed who are the people who are practicing sustainable methods of waste disposal, and who are the ones who are not following good waste management practices. So they made cards, red cards and green cards to encourage the ones who are doing positive things for the environment, and red cards for the ones who are doing negative things for the environment. So yeah, the idea, and then to sustain this whole initiative, what we have now done is we have launched the Eco Club. So government schools, you must be knowing, should have eco clubs, but in villages it's only on paper, because of limited resources, they haven't been able to activate the Eco Club. So in the Sangti Government Middle School, we have so it is our NGO, Northeast Waste Collective, every Saturday engages. So Saturdays are bagless Saturdays now. So we do environment education related activities as part of the Eco Club through activity based learning, of course, on Saturdays. So whatever these kids initiated in the Eco Champs are now being sustained in the Eco Club through the Eco Club. And so now those areas that I said, the groups having the specific areas, now all throughout the year they have to make sure that area is clean. So then it becomes a serious affair. Kids are actually brainstorming of how to keep that area clean, coming up with innovative ideas of making sure that their area is clean. And to make it even more serious and sustainable, we have integrated it with the SUPW, so the socially useful productive work. So they are grades. So now the SUPW grades are given by us through basically we evaluate kids on how they are performing on the Eco Club activities, and that's how they get graded in SUPW. Yeah.
So do you have time so that I can ask one more question? Is it okay? Since Arunachal is a tourist destination, and many travelers across India or from abroad come to visit the places, and ecotourism is also a part of supporting the rural livelihood. So what kind of initiative are you giving to the communities or to the travelers so that it can be make a eco-friendly place for them?
Right. This is a big challenge. I would say a lot still has to be done, but in Sangti now all the homestays are also part of this whole community-led initiative system, right? So all the homestays are segregating waste at source. So that is something everyone is following. And then I would say I think we need more time to engage more closely with the homestays to drive certain other desirable changes, which we have been able to with some homestays, but not with all. So we need more time to engage closely with them. I feel that is something we intend to do. But for the ones who we have been able to, let's say, inspire, for example, there's this one homestay named Sejor Homestay in Sangti. So he has really understood, the owner, Pema Sange, he has really understood what we are trying to do and has really embraced sustainability in everything that he's doing now as part of the homestay, and using waste wood. Okay, he's built his homestay using waste wood. Then he has the flooring of the veranda of the homestay. He has used bottles, glass bottles, like waste glass bottles. So from the MRF that we run in Sangti, he took glass bottles and he used it as flooring. Everyone discouraged him, ki it's glass bottles. If you use it, it'll break and all. But he's someone who's like, unless I try it out, I'll never know if it works or not. So he tried it out and it worked, and it even if it breaks, it's just about removing that one bottle and replacing with a new one. So he's now become like the trendsetter. There are other villagers, other homestay owners who are coming to me and asking me to store glass bottles so that they could make something out of it in their homestay property. Then other interesting initiatives that he's taken is, so he also has a campsite along with his homestay. So when people come, so there are people who also come and they want to pitch their own tents and cook themselves and all. So he allows them to cook and all, but he doesn't allow them to use disposables. So he rents his cutlery out. So they can pay him a rent and then borrow plates and glasses and whatever, but no disposables, like strictly disposables are not allowed. So that way he is also making some money out of it, and at the same time he is protecting Sangti from this menace of disposable waste. Yeah. So I think with more time we can make people like Pema the ambassadors to drive similar change in the valley with all the homestays.